Hello, and today on the show we're going to be talking about how your mind can feel like it's turned heel on you, like it's your worst enemy and your biggest rival. Let's get into it.
One, two, my God, it's the Kick Out Show!
Welcome to WWA Wrestling with Adversity, and this is the Kick Out Show, and this is where we learn to kick out of all the bullshit that life throws our way. And today we're talking about heel turns, and more specifically, how our own mind can turn on us, or that's how we see it anyway. It can feel like it's out to get us, there's self-sabotage, and it wants you to fail. There seems to be no way out of it, and it turns into this huge epic match that you wake up to every day, and it just becomes exhausting. So let's have a look at some of the greatest heel turns we've ever seen. I remember The Rock turning heel, Stone Cold turning heel. Did anyone like that? Oh, awful. But great moments in wrestling. We love a heel turn. Suddenly our favourite character is having his hand held high and suddenly turns around, kicks someone in the balls, and we're like, oh no, straight away. We all know what's going on. We all know what's happened. Straight away they look at the camera and there's that smirk, and we know this character has now turned heel, and we're asking ourselves, why is this happening? My favourite wrestler, he's done this. But it's so exciting as well, isn't it? The disappointment and the frustration and the oh no, why did that happen is instantly met with like, I've got to tune in next week. I've got to see what's happening with this character. And that's why I loved wrestling. Growing up watching wrestling, seeing heel turns, face turns, tag teams splitting up, the famous Shawn Michaels, as I always thought I remembered, a bit of a Mandela effect. Shawn kicking Marty Jannetty through the barbershop window. Never happened, apparently. I've gone back and watched it. But when I was a kid, I always thought that's what happened. But he super kicks him, then grabs him and throws him through the window. But yeah, a bit of a Mandela effect. In my mind, anyway. I always thought he did the super kick through the glass. But yeah, some fabulous moments of when suddenly, you know, the guy you thought that was sticking up for you, that was in your corner, has now turned on you. Another great example, Brock Lesnar versus Vince McMahon, and Kurt Angle was the special guest referee. I think it was a cage match, and I just remember sitting there. What a match. Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, such good friends, two of the very best wrestlers I've ever seen, right at the pinnacle of their careers. And the match versus Vince went ahead, and it looked like Brock had been knocked out or went unconscious or something. He just dropped to the floor, and Kurt's looking at Vince like, what have you done? And then in the background we just see a kip up from Brock, and then he just grabs Kurt Angle and goes to town on him. And I remember sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? Absolutely insane moments. I love that. So the point of today's show is then talking about when your mind feels like that. When your mind feels like it's done a heel turn on you. You can be going along quite normal. Maybe you're going to work. Maybe you're going to college. You hang out with your friends. And all of a sudden, your mind feels like it's against you. It can be pointing out all the behaviours of other people. It could be pointing out how your relationship is suffering and how this person's doing this and that person's doing that. And it almost wants to shrink your world. It's constantly talking about how you are going to fail at something, telling you maybe you're not good enough. Maybe it's more subtle than that. Maybe you keep trying to accomplish something. Maybe you're trying to do something, whether that be losing weight or quitting drinking or quitting smoking, especially at this time of year. You know, we talk a lot about that. Every year we get into the New Year's resolutions, and the common ones that we see a lot of are losing weight and quitting smoking. or eating less chocolate, those type of things. And then we all kind of laugh and joke about it that like 2, 3, 4 weeks in, it's all gone to shit and we've stopped. And a lot of time, that's because of that heel turn in the mind. First, you get this initial pump, this initial buzz that you are going to make a change for what's in your life. And then you go on to do a day and you're like, yeah, really proud of myself. Yeah, that's good. 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. You might start to see a bit of a difference. Things are going okay. But once you get into that deep stage where now it's not a novelty anymore, now it's real. Now you've had a stressful day at work. Now you've had an argument with your partner. The kids are getting on your tits. All manner of things can go wrong in your life. Or, they peck at you. It can be small things pecking away. And then you get that feeling, that need to numb something. The brain starts sending you signals. Just have a fag. We call them fags in England. Cigarettes. Have a cigarette. Have a slice of cake. Have a chocolate. Have a beer. You deserve it. It will tell you little stories about why you should go and do this thing. Because you deserve it. It's not your fault. Everyone else gets to do it. And then it starts offering all these explanations as to why it's okay to do this thing that only a few weeks before you decided that you weren't going to do anymore. And it keeps pecking and it's pecking and it's pecking. And then you go and have that one cigarette or that one beer, that one chocolate, whatever this self-sabotaging behaviour is. And after it, you might get a few minutes joy from it and a bit of relief. But then where does that go? It leads to another and another. Well, I've done it now, so I might as well go all in. And then you're back to where you was. And now you're going to spend another year and ahhing about how you're going to do it, how you're going to fix it, beating yourself up. And this is where that comes in. It's like the part of you that told you it was okay to do the self-sabotage is now the part of you beating yourself up. Now it's telling you, oh, you're a waste. That's pathetic. You couldn't even do it. So you were enticing me to go and do it to get the relief. And now that I've done it, now you're beating me up. And that is a heel turn, isn't it? That's the epitome of a heel. To hit you when you're down. To not only offer you the way out, but then kick you in the balls and kick you when you're down. And that happens to so many people, and then we get caught in a loop. And that loop goes on, and it can go on for years and years and years, and that's what it did for me. I was trapped in a cycle of guilt, shame, regret, repeat, because the way out was also the way back in. So I would go to alcohol, I would go to food, I would go to self-destructive behaviours to escape how I felt. But then I'll be straight back in again and hate myself even more each time. And over years, that compounding effect led to mental health problems, a dysregulated nervous system, a constant mind that now I've trained into that way of thinking, to pull me down, to criticize me. The inner critic in me became very strong because I'd trained it. So I would train it to get me out of trouble, it felt like in the short term. And then I trained it to beat me up as soon as I did take that way out. Do you see what I mean? See how crafty that is? Do you see how it's not crafty? It doesn't have a mind like that, but it can appear like a trap, like a crafty trap that you thought you could get some relief, and yet now you're back in it. You feel worse than you did before, and now you feel like you're back at day one. You've got to start again. And a lot of people won't start again. Maybe they'll try again next year. It's only February and they're already locked in now until the 1st of January next year. And that cycle just goes on and on and on. And our mental health goes down, and now you're in worse condition than you were the year before, and now you've got even more pounds to lose. You've smoked even more cigarettes, you've drank even more beer or whatever your tipple is, and that's just going to drag you down. And each time you go down, it's even harder then to get back out. And people talk about, you've got to reach rock bottom before you turn around, and unfortunately that is the case for a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be for you. So what can we do about this? How can we not get trapped in this cycle? So what I always talk to my clients about, and friends and family and people that come to me and ask these questions, is it's about making a decision on something that is a must. If you treat everything like a should, it will just remain a should. I should lose weight. I should quit smoking. I should stop drinking. I should spend time with my family. I should put my phone down. All these self-destructive behaviours that we seek out for short-term relief, they cause long-term pain. So change it from a should to a must. I know at some point in your life in the past, you've had a must. And you got it done. You didn't know how you were going to get it done, but you got it done. Maybe you stepped up for someone in your family. Maybe it was something you did at work or college or for a friend. And the real you showed up and you got it done. And you still to this day, you look back and go, wow, that seemed pretty hopeless back then. I don't know how I pulled that out of the hat, but I did. I didn't sit, I didn't think about it, I didn't look into the future and try and work it all out in my head beforehand. I didn't know how I was going to do it. But I started and I moved forward and I got it done. Because it was a must, not a should. So treat these things like a must. That's your first thing. A decision to treat it like a must. Then you execute. Then the second part is realizing that self-sabotaging brain, that heel, is not actually a heel. It's actually on your team. It's your tag team partner. It wants to help. It sees you in distress and it says, oh, what do we do when our person is in distress? Well, what do we usually do? We reach for a beer. So go and get the beer. I don't want you to be in distress. Go and have the piece of cake. I want you to be happy. And then once that's been done, then it brings you the information that you need about, oh, I thought you wanted to be fit. I thought you wanted to quit smoking. Well, that's a bad decision. Do you see? So it's not actually a heel. It's not actually against you. It's actually on your team. So there's ways that we can bring it more onto our team. We can allow those thoughts. We don't have to engage with them. We don't have to follow them. If the brain brings you, go and have a piece of cake, instead of sitting and thinking, should I have the piece of cake, or is this a bad choice, or but it would be really nice right now, you just observe it. You just say, I'm noticing I want some cake to take this feeling away. What else would help with this feeling? Maybe going for a walk. I know that's going to sound shitty. I know you might be sitting there thinking, have a piece of cake or go for a walk. I'll have a piece of cake. I know. I've been there. But what we're trying to do is train the brain that there's other ways to soothe ourselves. Not the self-destructive behavior, but something more constructive. And help it do a face turn. So in future, when you get overwhelmed, when things seem like you're stuck or trapped, your brain then will offer you, You like going for a walk when you feel overwhelmed, and it really made you feel better last time. You went out in nature, you went near your house or your home where you live. You listened to the birds, you listened to the trees. You exercised, you got lots of deep breaths, you enjoyed looking around and people watching. And now suddenly the brain sees another route, another path, and it will start offering you that instead. Do you see? So it's only offering you what it thinks, what you've trained it to give you. And we can train it for something else. And it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard in the beginning. You're going to want that cake. You're going to want that cigarette. You're going to want that beer. Whatever the self-destructive behavior is, it's there to try to help you. It's not against you. So just remember to observe it. Oh, I notice I want this, but I'm going to offer it this. And eventually your brain will start offering you that in the future. It's a beautiful thing to see. Once you start doing that behavior, start training your brain that this is how we live now. It's amazing to see it actually working. And then remember, it should be treated like a must. So all the things that you want to change in your life, start with the simplest, easiest step. This is a must. And then execute. Observe when the thoughts come, because they will come. And then you change the action. Don't wait for the thought to change. You do the action and then the thought will change. So I've really enjoyed today's show. I've been thinking about this one for a while. It shows up especially at this time of year, coming up to New Year, when people are wanting to make big changes in their lives and they get self-help books and they do this and they do that. But honestly, you implement these small tools that I've talked about today and you'll notice the difference. So there's more like this inside my free school community where I talk about this stuff. I want to help as many people as possible, and I'd love you to be one of them. So come and join. The link will be in the description below. And this has been the Kick Out Show. It's not about hitting the mat. It's all about the kick out. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.